You've spent years trying to be liked. What did it bring? Disrespect, broken promises, and people crossing your lines without fear. Respect isn't built on smiles or approval. It's built on principles, boundaries, and consequences. Marcus Aurelius reminded us, what's in our control are our thoughts and choices. The moment you stop chasing approval, you take back power, and power always commands respect. The true meaning of fear. Machiavelli is often misunderstood. His warning that it is safer to be feared than loved was never a call for cruelty. Fear, in his terms, meant consequence. The real cost someone faces when they cross your boundaries. Respect is born from this clarity, not from shouting or force. When people know your principles are firm and consistently enforced, they adjust. Love may sway with moods, but respect anchored in consequence endures. True strength lies in calm certainty, not in loud threats. The chains of approval. Behavioral psychology has a name for the craving to be liked: variable reward. Each smile, each nod of approval, each passing compliment acts like a random hit of dopamine, unpredictable, addictive, and hard to resist. Over time, this intermittent reinforcement wires you to seek more, until your self-worth depends on whether others grant or withhold affection. In that state, you've handed people the power to flip your value on and off like a switch. The respect switch reverses this dynamic. Instead of waiting for others to decide your worth, you decide who earns your approval and under what conditions. Your standards, not their moods, set the rhythm. The moment you stop living as a puppet of praise, you reclaim control. Respect isn't built by chasing validation, it's built by making validation flow from your principles, not from their whims. Why respect outlasts being liked. Being liked is fragile. It's just an emotion, and emotions shift with the wind. Respect, on the other hand, is built on expectations and consequences, which are steady and predictable. Someone may like you and still take advantage if it costs them nothing. Affection alone doesn't prevent betrayal. But when people know there is a real price for crossing you, time lost, access withdrawn, trust cut off, they hesitate. Respect protects because it is anchored not in feelings, but in the logic of consequence. Take a deep breath. Think back to the last time you said yes when every part of you wanted to say no. You told yourself it was easier, that it would keep the peace. That conflict wasn't worth it. But did it really bring peace? Or did it simply postpone the storm until tomorrow? Silence and compliance don't erase tension. They bury it. And buried tension doesn't vanish. It grows, waiting for the moment it will erupt twice as loud. Part 1. Core Philosophy. 3 angles, 3 truths. Machiavelli. The harsh truth of power. Machiavelli's realism was clear. Never build your security on affection, because affection shifts with convenience. Build it on rules and consequences you control. Approval can be given today and withdrawn tomorrow, but respect rooted in firm boundaries lasts. Power isn't in being liked. It's in making sure disobedience carries a cost that only you define. Sun Tzu, Hidden and Revealed. Sun Tzu advised, when strong, appear beyond measure. When near, seem distant. His lesson is simple: strategic unpredictability. If people can clearly read your patterns, they can exploit them. But when you stay partly hidden, never fully predictable, others hesitate. Mystery creates caution, and caution protects you. The unseen edge is often the strongest defense. Nietzsche, Strength in Autonomy. Nietzsche's reminder is sharp. Do not bow your head out of fear of being disliked. Stand tall because you demand respect from yourself first. True strength of character is not loud or boastful. It is the quiet refusal to bend under cheap pressure. Morality rooted in self-respect endures, while approval built on fear dissolves. Part 2. 3 real-life contexts. Work, simple, familiar. Picture yourself as a competent employee. Your colleague constantly drops last-minute tasks on your desk, expecting you to absorb the pressure. The old you might smile, nod, and take it on, quietly resenting it, but never saying no. The respect switch changes the script. You respond calmly, without anger or long debate. I'm happy to help within X to Y hours. Anything that comes after that will have to wait until tomorrow. Clear, simple, firm. No hostility, just a boundary with a consequence. The message is unmistakable. Lateness equals delay. And when you enforce it consistently, people adapt. That same colleague quickly learns to bring requests earlier, not because you argued, but because you trained them through action. Respect is earned not by overextending, but by teaching others how to treat your time. Intimate relationships. In relationships, it's easy to fall into the trap of overgiving, sending message after message, apologizing even when you weren't wrong, bending until you disappear. That old pattern makes you predictable, and worse, easy to dismiss. The respect switch reframes the dynamic. Your response becomes calm, steady, and unshakable. I value you, but if the response is silence or mocking my boundaries, I will not stay in that space. No shouting, no dramatic exit, simply stepping away when the rules of respect are broken. The shift is subtle, yet powerful. You are no longer chasing, you are defining. And when you consistently walk away from disrespect, you stop teaching others that they can get away with it. Instead, you show them that your presence is earned, never owed. Friend connections. We've all had that friend, the one who only calls when they're in trouble, who texts when they need a favor, but vanishes the moment you're the one reaching out. The old version of you might always answer, always rearrange your plans, always show up on demand. But the respect switch shifts everything. Instead of confrontation, you change your behavior. You answer less often. You stop dropping everything to meet their requests, and you stick to your own schedule. Over time, they notice. Suddenly, you're no longer a 24/7 help desk. And when access to you isn't guaranteed, your time gains value. That same friend starts to weigh their words more carefully, realizing your attention is a privilege, not a given. You don't have to turn cold to be respected. Warmth still has its place, but it should be offered with intention, not out of fear. True strength is choosing when and to whom you give your kindness, because kindness, when freely given without boundaries, loses its meaning. But kindness that is selective becomes a gift, rare, valuable, and deeply respected by those who receive it. Part 3. 5. Fundamental rules. Rule number 1. Say less when challenged. Power doesn't beg to be understood, and it never drowns itself in endless justifications. When you're attacked publicly, resist the urge to defend every detail. Keep it short, clear, and controlled. Thank you for the point. I'll address it after the meeting. That single sentence shifts control. You take the rhythm out of their hands and set it on your terms. Instead of reacting emotionally, you remain composed, calm, and unshaken. Marcus Aurelius captured it perfectly. Calmness is the first victory. The less you explain under pressure, the more decisive and authoritative you appear. Silence, when used with intention, speaks louder than arguments and forces others to respect your presence. Rule number 2. Withdraw approval when boundaries are violated. You don't need to argue, raise your voice, or explain endlessly. Instead, you quietly reduce access. Less of your time, less of your attention, less of your energy. The consequence is subtle, but unmistakable. They lose privileges they once took for granted. This silent shift is more powerful than any debate because it forces others to recognize the cost of disrespect. Approval, when scarce, becomes valuable. Approval, when handed out freely, becomes worthless. By withdrawing it without fanfare, you send a message stronger than words. My respect must be earned, and when you break it, you no longer have it. Silence plus consequence turns approval into leverage. Rule number 3, stay cold in conflict. Anger always communicates dependence. It says, I need you to understand me. Calmness communicates the opposite. I don't need your agreement to remain steady. In negotiation, the one who stays composed always controls the terms. Rage, whining, or overreaction reveal weakness and hand the advantage away. But a cold, measured presence unsettles others. They wonder what you're thinking, how far you're willing to go, and what consequences they may trigger. That uncertainty shifts power to you. Conflict doesn't require volume or drama. True leverage lies in silence, stillness, and patience. The person who keeps their emotions in check sets the price of the interaction, while everyone else reacts to their lead. Rule number 4, be deliberately unpredictable. When people know with certainty that you will always forgive, always agree, or always stay no matter what, your value drops. You become cheap by default. Predictability makes you easy to manage. To reverse this, you must occasionally shift the rhythm, change priorities, adjust your schedule, or simply say no when they expect yes. This isn't about petty mind games or trying to confuse people for sport. It's about reminding others that they don't control your patterns. You do. When your actions aren't fully predictable, others hesitate. They stop assuming your compliance and begin respecting your autonomy. Uncertainty forces them to treat you carefully because they can never be sure when the answer might suddenly change. Rule number 5, enforce consequences without warning. Power isn't built on threats or dramatic declarations. It's built on consistent action. When someone crosses a boundary, you don't announce punishments, negotiate endlessly, or lecture them on respect. You simply act, reduce access, cut interaction, withdraw privileges. The principle is simple. Boundary broken equals cost paid. One decisive action speaks louder than 100 speeches. When people see that your words are backed by silent, swift enforcement, they begin to calculate carefully before testing you again. Respect isn't demanded. It is established by showing that violations always carry a price. Quiet action, done once and done firmly, communicates authority more clearly than any loud performance ever could. Part 4. 3 Principles of Scarcity to make others self-adjust. Principle A. Stop over-investing. Never give more than the system or the person gives back. In the workplace, that means ending the habit of putting out endless fires while others relax. In relationships, it means stopping the flood of messages just to soothe insecurity or keep attention alive. When you consistently give more than you receive, you train others to believe your effort is free and your energy is endless. Over time, they stop valuing it, because what costs nothing is treated as nothing. The respect switch requires balance. Give, but in proportion. Invest, but with limits. The moment you stop over-delivering without return, you force people to recognize that your time and effort carry a price. Principle B. Learn to walk away early. If you cannot leave, you are owned by whoever can make you stay. Dependence is the leash that others pull. When respect is broken, your power lies not in loud arguments, but in quiet departure. Step back, close the door calmly, and let silence do the talking. That silence becomes a mirror, forcing them to see their own actions reflected in the consequences. People often dismiss words, but they cannot ignore absence. Withdrawal communicates more than any speech. It shows you value yourself enough to walk when the terms are violated. The ability to leave without drama is not weakness. It is the clearest proof that you refuse to be possessed. Principle C. Make your presence rare. Don't be available at every hour or to every request. Protect your schedule, set priorities, and control the gates to your time. When people can reach you instantly and endlessly, your presence loses its weight. But when access is limited, each interaction feels significant. Scarcity creates value. Your words carry more power when they are not heard constantly. Your time is respected when it is not given freely. By being selective in where you show up and when, you transform ordinary moments into meaningful ones, and your presence begins to command respect. Distance doesn't make you cold. It makes you significant. When you are constantly present, people stop noticing your worth. But when you step back with intention, your absence speaks. It reminds others that your time is valuable, your presence is a privilege, and your return carries weight that constant availability never could. Part 5. Concrete situations. Talk action. Team meeting. Imagine someone mocks you in front of a group. The old response? An awkward laugh, a long explanation, scrambling to fix your image on the spot. That only hands them control. The respect switch demands a different approach. You look them in the eye and end it with calm authority. Noted. I'll follow up after nothing more. The room feels the shift. You're not defending, you're deciding. Later, in private, you reset boundaries, reassign responsibilities, clarify expectations, or, if the behavior repeats, remove them from the project or restrict their access. One cold, decisive act communicates more power than endless justifications. Respect isn't won by arguing. It's established when others realize crossing you always carries a cost. Affectionate texts. Picture this. Your partner uses silence as punishment. The old reflex. You panic, send more messages, beg for a response, hoping to fix what feels broken. But that only deepens the imbalance. The respect switch creates a new response. Calm, firm, and without blame, you say, I respect your need for space. When you're ready to talk respectfully, I'll be here. Until then, I won't engage no chasing, no guilt tripping, just a clear definition of the rules for a mature relationship. By refusing to play into manipulation, you reclaim your ground. The silence no longer controls you. You set the terms of when dialogue can happen. That shift turns silence from a weapon into a mirror of their own behavior. Borrowing friends. A friend keeps asking for urgent favors, again and again. The old you might always say yes, dropping everything to help. The respect switch offers a different response, calm and precise. I can help with X within Y time frame. Anything beyond that, I won't take on. No argument, no anger, just a clear limit. The next time, they'll filter their requests before bringing them to you. Boundaries quietly teach people how to respect your time without a single lecture. Part 6. Respect ecosystem. Building your reputation. 3 labels begin to define you. The one who does not bend, the one who does not over-explain, and the one who never chases. These reputations form silently but powerfully. People adjust their behavior when they know you won't break under pressure, won't waste words defending yourself, and won't run after them if they pull away. Boundaries backed by consistency teach others restraint long before conflict arises. Respect grows not from speeches, but from the presence of unshakable standards. Tracking progress. You can measure your progress in small but powerful ways. Count the moments you say, "Let me think about it," instead of giving an instant yes. Notice how many conversations you postpone to avoid reacting emotionally, choosing clarity over impulse. Track the percentage of tasks or relationships that begin to self-correct once you lower their priority, without any argument or confrontation. These subtle shifts reveal that your boundaries are taking hold. Respect doesn't always show up in applause. Often, it's visible in the quiet adjustments people make when they realize you no longer move on their timeline. Frequent mistakes. Avoid the common mistakes. You don't need to play the role of being cold all the time. Warmth is still valuable when it's given on your terms, not as a default. Never issue threats you won't carry out. Empty warnings destroy credibility faster than silence. And don't confuse unpredictability with moodiness. True unpredictability follows principles. It's the deliberate choice to shift patterns, not the random swings of emotion. Respect is built on consistency and clarity, not on extremes or unstable behavior. Part 7. 7-Day Power Framework. Day 1. Audit your boundaries. Write down 5 situations where you usually say yes out of guilt or habit. Then classify each one clearly. Which must stop altogether. Which can continue but with limits. And which are healthy enough to keep. This simple exercise forces clarity and shows you where respect is being lost first. Day 2. Prepare one standard sentence to delay decisions. Something simple like, "I'll check my schedule and get back to you." This becomes your psychological handbrake. Instead of rushing into yes, you create space to think. That pause prevents manipulation, buys time, and reminds others that your choices follow your terms, not their pressure. Day 3. Control the gates to your time. Silence notifications for 1 or 2 blocks of deep work each day. No messages, no alerts, no interruptions. At first, people may push back, but soon they adjust, learning your rhythm. By protecting your focus, you train others to respect your schedule instead of assuming instant access. Day 4. Apply the 24-hour silence rule. When you receive a provoking or mocking message, don't respond immediately. Wait an entire day. After 24 hours, decide. Reply calmly if it's worth addressing, or ignore it completely if it's not. This pause protects your composure and teaches others they can't control your reactions on impulse. Day 5. Enforce one small consequence and follow through. If someone shows up late or disregards your time, simply reschedule the task or meeting for the following week. No lectures, no anger, no lengthy explanation. The quiet shift in access speaks louder than words, showing others that disrespect always carries a cost in your world. Day 6. Practice saying one clean no. Try. Thanks for thinking of me, but I won't be taking this on. No excuses, no long explanations. No is a complete sentence. The more directly you use it, the more others learn that your boundaries stand on their own, without apology or justification. Day 7. Practice the ritual of scarcity. Pick one group or app where you're overly present and cut your activity by 30% for a week. Don't announce it, just step back. Then observe how others respond. People quickly adjust, becoming more deliberate with their words and actions when they realize your presence is no longer guaranteed. Part 8. Moral balance. Key lesson. Respect is not the right to make others afraid. It is the responsibility to make yourself clear through principles, boundaries, and consistent consequences. No insults, no violence, no manipulation. Respect is clarity, not cruelty. You owe no one constant warmth or endless approval. But you do owe yourself fairness. And fairness begins with self-discipline. The courage to enforce your own standards even when it's uncomfortable. When you honor your own rules, you teach the world how to honor you. Closing. The world may like you, but it will only respect you when it knows losing you has a cost. When you show up less, speak less. But with more clarity, every word you say carries the weight of law. Others will think twice before lying to you, deceiving you, or crossing your boundaries. Not out of fear of you as a person, but out of respect for the consequences you enforce consistently. If this video reached you at the right moment, share it with someone still living on the lifeline of approval. Comment, where do I flip the switch this week? Write one action you will take immediately. And subscribe to the channel so each week you gain another step of discipline. Less noise, more weight. From this moment on, don't try to be liked. Be worthy of respect.